3, 2, 1. Hello, welcome to the Reloading Podcast here on the Firearms Radio Network, presented by Patriot Patch Company and Camerado. How's everybody doing tonight?
Good.
Good.
Doing good.
Well, Nick, who'd you bring?
I decided to see if my buddy Reese wanted to jump on. He's actually the owner and operator of a company called Milsurp Munitions. So,
cool.
being we both, him and I and my father, all collect old military surplus rifles, he decided to start a new company. I have not personally ran any of his ammo, being I have reloaded myself, but him and I have kind of ran some ideas off each other for a long period of time, and so helped each other out. But yeah, it's good to have you here, Reese.
Yeah, thank you guys. Very excited to meet a lot of you and happy to be here and answer any questions.
Interesting.
All right, so Reese, what we usually do is we start off by talking about what we've done in Guns and Reloading and stuff. So we'll exempt you from that. We'll do that, and then we'll kind of start the interview and stuff. So
Sure, I've got a hot cup of tea. You guys do it. Go for it.
all right. So Nick, what you been up to?
Not much. Just kind of going through therapy, kind of getting that hand back working. It's going pretty good. Came down to the reloading bench for the first time in a couple of weeks. Got a little bit of that. Got that worked up. Haven't done any new reloading or anything. Probably going to be starting a new project here once this is officially better. Starting getting that 11mm Mauser load going. We got to make a jig for the drill press to file on that rim a little bit. But other than that, Dad finished a project up for me. I should be getting that back tomorrow.
Yay, Dad.
Exactly. I would have done it, or helped, but he's so far away. So, no, it was just getting back into the swing of things and excited to get back to reloading.
Awesome. Shenda, what you been up to?
I did get to take the Savage out a few weeks ago, the Creedmoor precision rifle, and I don't know if I talked about it the last time, but I finally got to shoot out to 643 yards, and we think I may have hit 1,000, but we didn't have an indicator and couldn't hear anything, so I told them I'll take that as I did it, but I have no confirmation of that yet. We have Women's Go Wild, the annual event that our organization has every year. It's a weekend of outdoor activities for women to try them, to decide if they want to like them and pursue them. It's whitetail season, so everybody is getting, I'm busy. Nope, I'm going to be out in the woods this weekend, none of that. And I got a couple of ladies that asked me to go sit out in some blinds with them just to keep them company, or if they get some, show them how to field dress. So I got quite a few things coming up the next few seasons. I usually get busy this time of year, and I got a new toy to play with. Savage sent me their new Revel. It's a lever action 22. So I get to play with that, get it dirty, and I'm going to make a bunch of other people try it.
I am absolutely jealous.
You should be.
So the nice thing is, it's definitely nice to see companies getting serious about lever guns again, especially coming back into the 22 area. Because I mean, it's just been I don't even see it on their website.
Nope, because it's not out yet. They're just marketing it right now. I think it'll be out on the 28th, maybe.
Oh,
It's the last hit I got. It was pretty cool because I've always had a fascination with lever actions, and not too many people here in the KC Metro area that I know of that have them. So it's nice for me to play around with that and get used to it because I do have one on my wish list right now that I would like to
Ooh.
own.
I just saw something else new that's intriguing that I haven't seen. Savage decided to go after the Ruger RPR,
Hmm.
and they now have a Model 64 Precision with an MSRP of $319.
Yep.
So that's going to be a street
There
price
are
of like
quite a few things
$250.
that's come out.
So, dang it, Savage. Damn it. All right. So, Paul, how about you?
Oh, well, I went up to Wisconsin this weekend and got to break in the 6 GT for a little bit, stop and see our favorite podcaster at work.
Who's that
And,
jackass?
Oh, Mike something or another. What's his name? Yeah, and yeah, not too bad. It was a good weekend, other than the rain on Sunday. But yeah, Saturday got out and stretched the 6 GT out to 200 yards with about a 1-inch group. So I think I can cut that in half with by actually loading up something that resembles a precision load instead of a fire forming load. So we should go that way soon. So thanks
That's
to
exciting.
yeah, it was an exciting weekend. It was a good weekend. Now all I have to do is get you to come out shooting.
Well, if you guys would plan this for more than like 4 days in advance, and I could actually take a Saturday off.
Oh, okay.
See, that's the
Okay.
problem is I got to be able to take a Saturday off. So
Yeah, not have a Sunday full of rain. Yes, I understand.
so
Yep.
That's what ponchos are for.
So well, to be fair, it was lightning, so that tends to dampen my
Yeah.
spirits to shoot in the rain. I personally have no problem shooting in the rain, guns clean. And when I go to the DNR range, it has covered shoot houses, so that's not a problem. It's the whole holding a explosive piece of metal or explosive piece of lightning rod. I mean,
What?
theoretically,
YOLO.
Well, it's better than fishing with a nice graphite rod, you know.
there's your bird, Shenda. Theoretically,
Can you hear them?
they're flying over my house. If it was legal, I'd be laying in
Oh,
my
I thought
backyard.
I thought you were talking about my parrots in the background.
No. But remember, we can't actually flip anybody off anymore, so we have to use the duck's calls. No, the geese are flying over my house about a half hour ago. I could have been laying in my backyard in my zero gravity chair going like this. The heck with a layout blind.
Oh.
Up to the highest heights. There you go, Raggle Fraggle. But where was I before we went totally ADHD? Damn it.
You were talking about how I have to make longer arrangements, you know.
No,
So-
yeah, and the whole theoretically, if you did get struck by lightning while holding a firearm, and it did happen to ignite the powder, theoretically, if the chamber was correctly closed and the bolt was correctly locked, it would just shoot the projectile down the barrel, and everybody would be fine, other than the effects of the lightning. But I don't want to
Okay.
find out. So.
Does the synthetic stock make any difference?
Well, I mean, theoretically, the synthetic stock would be an insulator.
Yeah.
but I'm
But
pretty
I got
sure
a
at that point in time it would just melt.
yeah. Then I got that big aluminum channel in the inside of it too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, bad enough the gun weighs 17 pounds now, so
hmm
it'd
Yeah.
be a lot
So,
lighter.
yeah. So
Uh,
shooting in the rain, no problem. Shooting in lightning, thunderstorms, bad idea.
Still
Ray?
better than fishing.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, those
What?
modern fishing rods are definitely lightning rods. So, what you been up to?
Been busy. Besides traveling for work, say last week I was up in Maine doing some audits. Then I had to go up into New Brunswick for an audit. Got back Friday night. Spent the weekend. We home shopping. Wife's always showing me houses. What do you think of this house? What do you think of that house? Haven't found the right one yet. Did finish up a project for Nick, being that Nick bought a new M1 Grand about a month ago now, probably. Yeah, he bought a new CMP gun, 30-06. I took his old one, rebarreled it and rechambered it for 308. That way he can shoot inexpensive blanks and for reenacting. So I finished that up today. And I finished a project for myself. I bought a 1929, 1903 A1, and I sent it off to another guy that's out on the forums, Chuck in Denver. He's known for doing a lot of Marine sniper clones, and he had installed the blocks for me. Did an outstanding job. Just in shipment back, the shipper must have had a dance party on my box and split the handguard in about 4 pieces.
Oh,
So, yeah. But he's going to make me a new handguard. I mean, getting the 03 handguard's not a problem. It's just he has to mill it, and because those handguards were milled, and I should get that in about a week or so. Other than that, the rifle turned out beautiful, and like I say, took Nick's rifle out yesterday and shot it, and it did fine, and got all packaged up, and he'll have it tomorrow night. So, got perfect headspace, Nick.
Awesome. You've done good on everything else. We've done how many now? 3 or 4 different
2,
things.
yeah.
So,
Will there be photos later?
oh, he takes photos of everything.
I didn't of this, believe it or not.
I have a video. If you want to see the video of the gun firing, Shenda, I have a video.
I do.
Okay, I'll send you a video.
Send it.
But
Other
no,
than
I
that,
saw the some of the photos that my dad sent me that Chuck had done. Incredible work. And after talking with my dad, I'm eventually looking at doing a infield number 4 Mark 1 T sniper build, and so I might be looking at him for that build eventually. So
yeah, the reason I built a clone, the original Marine 1903 A1 sniper, they only made about, I think, less than 2,000 original rifles, and a 100% documented rifle goes for about 10 grand. So a little out of my price range, so a clone will work fine.
right in there with Sharenda's.
Yeah. That's what I've been up to.
Next time you're gonna ship it in a hard case.
It was, well, I should have, and it was in a double. For the one box that the rifle was in was just the action and the handguard. I didn't have to send the stock. It was in a padded box, and then that box was in a separate box. So
it seriously looked like the company was jumping all over it or set something 3 times as heavy on top. It just was insane.
It's like they stuck it in something and tried to bend the thing sideways.
I don't know. Crazy.
I used to work for a freight company when I was a kid, so I know what happened. I know what happens, I should say. But all's well.
Well, you know what fragile means in UPS, right?
Fragile.
It means kick me.
Yeah. Well, I didn't put fragile on it. It was just in a plain box, but I think they move enough packages. I think they know what's in a box.
Yep. Anyhow, we got a guest tonight.
Yeah. Nick.
Yeah.
Nick
So
is our guest.
oh yeah, I'm a
Nick's our
guest as
guest?
always.
Oh, okay.
But no, yeah, we'll get have you, Reese, have you start just introducing your company and explain a little bit more about yourself and how you got started.
Yeah. Oh, that's exciting. I haven't been asked that before. Cool. Well, my name is Reese Spectre. I got into Milsurps like 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, the first gun I ever bought the moment I turned 18 was a $200 9130 from Ohio Ordnance back when they were around. And always been fascinated with history. I'm not widely known, but I've started a lot of business. If you guys purchase things from like Axis Arms, RTI, and some other online retailers, I probably made their website, and I currently work with them. And so I was previously involved with another ammo company in which I left, and then that fell apart. And I saw the opportunity. I saw that the Milsurp collecting community, there was just a massive hole to be filled, especially with RTI. I built Ulis from RTI, new website, and I was able to tangibly see how many firearms are coming into the country that had no ammo to support them. So this huge hole in the market, I kind of like reloading. I'm into it. I reload for my own guns, and I was asked one day if I would be interested in doing something like that after just leaving a company that did it. And I mean, I talked to a lot of people. I talked to Nick. I talked to Danny from Milsurp World. I'm sure you guys all know him. And they all told me to do it and just jump. I talked to a lot of people, but they were like, this is an opportunity. You should jump on it. And so I took my passion for the hobby and I put it into supporting the community. I'm really lucky in that just the way things have turned out and rolled out. My relationship with Uli, if you guys know who he is, he's the owner of RTI. He offered to finance a lot of the company. I invested a lot of money as well. So having him back me, having access to the firearms and all the resources that come with that allowed me to create a company that reloads for these firearms. And so you're going to see a lot more ammo coming through us, coming into the U.S. market for these guns. And hopefully allow people to not only just hang their guns up on the wall, they could actually take them out and shoot them. That's my goal. It was long-winded. To put everyone to sleep.
So what current cartridges are you loading?
Right now, I really just do 6.5 and 8mm. Specifically 6.5 Carcano. I'm actually sitting at the place where I load my ammo. So I've got Carcano here. I've got some 8x50R Monlicker behind me in boxes. And then I also load 6.5 Vetterli, which I don't have on the table. I can show you, but really it's just those three. I'd like to reload more soon, but that's all I'm doing for right now.
Okay.
So you're basically loading cartridges that you can't get from like PPU or anything like that. More of the obsolete, not the.
Yeah, for now, yeah. It's huge because if you go on Royal Tiger Imports website, regardless of your opinion on the company, they import and sell thousands and thousands and thousands, and I've seen it myself. I live 2 hours away from the warehouse. They sell M95s and Carcanos all day long, and the ammo is in demand. People want to shoot their guns, so I'm focusing on those because they're 6.5 Carcano is a little more abundant, but 8x50R is non-existent. I think it's really just me and Old South Ammo right now making it. So someone's got to do it.
Yeah, and I know you and I have talked on that for like especially the 8x50. We were kind of working together on that, kind of looking at different things, and yeah, I know you're always looking at expanding it down the road and seeing where things could go potentially. And so I know you and I have talked about other things in the company you got going on. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, we can get into that in a bit if you want. What the future of the company is going to look like as we grow. Also, I apologize. I am a little under the weather, so I'm trying to not cough. But yeah, if you want to talk about, where, like, what our plans are, I'm totally open to that. There's no secrets or like mysteries here. It's very ambitious what we want to do, and I think we could pull it off with the resources we have.
Awesome. Let's take a break from that. Does anybody in the side chat have any questions that on the Milsurp thing that people might ask, or anybody on the panel?
So what's the next cartridge if you get into it?
So I wish I had a straightforward answer to that. It's not that simple. So if I had it my way, I would start expanding into the Japanese cartridges like 7.7 or 6.5. There's also 8mm Nambu or 8x22 Nambu, which I think is pretty neat. I'm sorry I can't provide you an exact answer on that. It's just a matter of components and how much they cost at bulk. It's that's why we haven't actually expanded recently. We're just focusing on what works right now. So if I had it my way, it'd be 7.7 or maybe 8mm Nambu.
So Clifford had a question for Nick. Nick wants to know if the SKS ever came in 7.62 by 54.
No, too small of a frame.
That's what I thought.
Close thing you're going to get a SVT 40.
Yeah,
that's the closest thing. It's literally an SKS frame blown up, and it's actually
they suggested that or a Dragunov.
Yeah, Dragunov. You're going to spend $6,000, at least $6,000 on a true Dragunov. You can get a PSL, a little more affordable. They're about $2,500 to $3,000. SVT 40s, you're still in that $2,500 to $3,000 range, unless you find one that nobody has any idea what it is. But anymore, that's pretty uncommon.
Yeah, the SKS was developed in 1945 for Russia's new intermediate cartridge, the 7.62 by 39, which eventually led up to the AK. So Nick's right. That's all it ever was a 7.62 by 39.
It was actually a substitute. It didn't see a ton of service actually in the Russian military, because it was just a fill-in. Because think about it, the AK was already starting to be developed at the end of the war.
Right.
It was all the predecessors, and then by 1947 you have the AK there, and the rest is history. And then all your other countries really were the ones that adopted the SKS, like China, Romania, Hungary. No, Hungary didn't use them. Albania. There were just so many different countries that use the SKS. But yeah, it didn't. It kind of was a little late, little game too late. The SKS was, but it's a fun gun. The only downfall about the SVT 40, from the reloader's perspective, it has a fluted chamber.
Mm-hmm.
Is the only downfall. So your brass life is pretty much compromised right at the get-go. And I found that out the hard way when I bought my SVT 40. Went out and shooting, and all of a sudden I look at my brass, I'm like, oh, this is just like a G3. That's useless. So
why you reload the steel case ammo and shoot it through that.
And that's why I'm looking at trying to find a set of carbide 54R dies, if I could find them. So.
And Clifford, if you want to go big or go home, if you're looking for the SKS platform and a larger cartridge, you can go with the PTRS 41, which is a upscaled SKS that shoots 14mm.
Yeah,
that'll get some looks at the range.
I'm trying to even think what 405 Winchester looks like. It's a straight wall.
Reese, have you considered 3040 Craig?
I have. I've been asked many times about it. I brought up how I was involved with the previous company. They manufactured 3040 Crag. We put a lot of resources into it, and nobody ended up buying it,
Really?
which was shocker to me. I actually have a 1895 in 3040 Crag, and I'm like, I feel like a lot of these are around. Why is nobody buying it? But I'm not sure. I don't know why there's a. It seems like there's a demand for it, but I'm not sure. I don't think we're gonna load it anytime soon.
Now, are you
Yeah.
running automated machines to load with, or is this still single stage? Or
Oh, good lord, no. I
well,
can't imagine doing this on a single stage. No,
Well-
I have 2 automated 1050s doing this.
okay. Well, just wondering. I mean, Nick reloads. What is that? 577, 400, or
That's
whatever.
on my RCBS
Yeah.
rock choker. Yep.
So, I mean, I know it can be done in an automated press, but wondering if you're there yet, or going that way to exotic calibers and for Milsurp.
I think we would have to. So there's actually like there's a limitation. You know this obviously, but for anyone listening, there's a limitation to the size of the cartridge that you could reload on certain presses. I think the farthest I can go on my press is like almost about 30-06 or a little bit bigger. I know Mark 7 Reloading is making presses that allow up to 338 Lapua. It's a matter of, and like I said, you know this, but it's a matter of the shell actually fitting on a rotating plate that indexes.
Right.
The biggest rim I've got right now is for the 8x56R, and I'm using 4570 plates for that. So,
Okay.
so in terms of like Snyder, or like the larger Enfield cartridges, like for the Martini Henry, in terms of automated, I don't know. But if I was to load that, I don't know if I would do it automated because I'd want to load it with black powder. And if you've read the Dillon manual, it literally says do not use black powder in an automated press or you will die. So we're probably going to single load those. Now that I think about it.
I got one of Dylan's first presses, so RL1000. So yeah, I know he gives all the warnings, but there is a way to load black powder. It's just not conductive to production. That's all.
Well,
but there's enough smokeless powders out there that work.
Yeah. I mean, I do reduce loads for the Veterli. I have a reduced load for the 8x50R that I don't sell yet. That would be for the 8890 rifle. But my end goal here is to really load true to the original military spec.
Okay.
At some point. So like, let's say like, I would end up doing smokeless powder. I'd use maybe like accurate 5744 or like some kind of Vudavori powder. But like I said, my goal, and I don't know what I would be able to touch, these larger ones, but I would love to do it with black powder and just keep it original. I feel like that'd be really exciting for people. See the big coming out of the end of their gun.
Okay. That that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's black powder is rough on brass, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what works. We'll see what works, but it's a learning as you go kind of thing. Believe it or not, this is my first ammo company, so I'm moving through the motions one step at a time, figuring out what works best for us and the customer.
Well, you're a reloader, right? To begin with.
Yep.
So you kind of understand the process, it's just not the scale.
Yeah. So I started with a simple turret press, and it's like, how do I reload this in mass? Maybe like 10,000 rounds a day. It's like that's a little different.
What you need to move to then is to a straight line automatic press.
Yep.
Camdex, which is a lot more money than 1100 or 1050 automated, or even a Mark 7. But yeah, is it worth it to go to a Camdex and then for small runs? I mean, because you're a starting ammunition company, you're not making 100,000 rounds of at one time.
Mm-hmm. The only way I see it feasibly, and I can't say for certain because it's not in front of me and we haven't done it yet. The only way I think we can make that work is if we had quick change dies of some sort, then we could load a bunch of different ones and not dedicate one cartridge.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really the only way I see that working. I can't, like, I have people come to me, as small as we are right now, they're like, could you please reload 577? It's like, there's no way for me to like actually do that right now if I wanted to.
Modified shotgun shell press, right?
Yeah.
That's about the closest I think you could. Well, with 577 Martini, it's almost impossible doing a shotgun because you're really putting that tapered shoulder. So you have to do it almost on a regular like rock chucker or a large frame press. But Snyder, you could possibly do Snyder.
What's the rim diameter Snyder?
It's the same brass you use for Martini.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, the exact same brass. The only nice thing about Snyder is once you fire form it to your chamber, you really don't need dies ever again.
Oh my goodness. 0.75 inches.
Yeah, it's a big boy. It's a big boy. But yeah, that's really the only thing. I don't know if I've never thought about checking on a shotgun press. I just think you really need that hydraulic push on the actual like cast iron press.
But what Reese would have to charge for a box of 20 of that,
yeah,
it'd be more feasible for people just to go buy a rock crusher and the few tools they need. And I mean, I hate to say that, but it's because I know what he would have to spend in components and time and needling and all that. His time, he's there to make money.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the black powder portion of it, a converted Dillon shotgun press would have enough strength to do it.
Yeah.
That's good to know. I mean, we could always do a reduced load, but there you go.
Yeah.
One step at a time. You're figuring this out. And Ray, a caveat is it's not feasible unless we make the brass ourselves.
Right. See, and on that Martini, swaging that brass, you know how sensitive that is. Automated, boy, I tell you, you'd have to have it dialed in perfect.
Great. That's if you've figured out the Dillon 1050.
Because the only way we've got it to work right, and kneel it, do your first swage, which is just a par swage, and kneel it again. After about 3 kneelings, you end up with your final case, and that's
good Lord.
That's why for 577, it's a hand loader's cartridge anymore.
It is.
That Snyder, you could possibly
one of the kneelings should get you in there.
You could actually do that. Wouldn't be as hard to do for the industry because, like I said, my dad said one annealing, you cut it, you size it out. The only downfall is you're going to be actually using a 577 bullet compared to the .600 flat base. So people are going to know it's not going to be the most accurate load in the world, but
yeah.
Yep. So we might entertain stuff like this, but in the meanwhile, I think we could focus on late 19th century, like late 19th century and 20th century cartridges.
Yeah. Throw this out there. He is actually using a good friend of ours. Will from FW Arms was the gentleman that helped get him started with his shell plates. Made custom shell plates for the Carcano and some of the other cartridges. So, and I hooked him up with Will. Will's taking care of him, and so Will does an awesome job. So,
oh yeah, the 6.5 Carcano plates are spot on. It makes it so easy. And working with him was great, and I obviously appreciate you introducing me to him. We wouldn't be making ammo if it wasn't for him. So thank you.
Absolutely.
I hope it's not beyond my bounds, but somebody did ask a question in chat. Jeff Daniels asked where I'm getting or making brass. It's not a secret. I could just tell you. If you saw that there was brass available on SG Ammo, 6.5 Carcano Prime brass, that's all mine now.
That's the only thing I hold against Reese right now. He bought some of my brass. So
in my defense, I'm not using it to load 264 Carcano. It's going to be 263 Carcano.
Nope, absolutely.
So, true to the gun. And then the 8x50R brass, which is just converted 8x56 brass. I got that from Graphs. We have an agreement with them, and that's where we get those components from.
Besides brass, are you having the same issues we are with primers? Getting primers?
Not really. There was like a moment this week where I wasn't sure I was going to be able to get my hands on primers, but I have a hookup, for lack of better words, for large rifle primers, and I'm very lucky to have that. But yeah, I mean, just this week when I realized I might not have that hookup this time around, I did a quick search around, and I was a little shocked at the pricing and availability of large rifle. But yeah, like I said, I was lucky, to have the guy I work with.
Are you using just American primers, or have you switched to any of the other commercial primers that are out there?
So I use 2 primers right now. So before I mentioned the Carcano brass comes primed, and that's straight from PPU. I'm not quite sure what company or what brand primer they used. It's
Gen X, I think.
Could be Gen X.
Gen X.
I'm not particular. I only use Gen X for loads that I really don't care about. I don't use Gen X for loads that I would count on. But with that being said, if the Carcano ammo that I load right now is using Gen X primers, we've ran hundreds and hundreds of rounds through it, testing this brass out, testing these primers and the load. Never had an issue. So that's a good sign. And if I knew they were Gen X before I bought them, I'd be worried. But the fact that we tested so many and never had an issue, I'm not worried about it. So that's actually overseas in Europe. The primers here in the US that I use that I actually really like, and they work very well in the Dillon 1050, especially the automated setup, is White River Energies primers. They're kind of new.
Yeah.
But they work.
I think they're based out of Ohio, if I'm not mistaken. I think. Yeah. Don't quote me on that, but
yeah, okay. I was able to get my hands on 7,000 this past week, and I'm going to use that for loading some Vetterli, because there's a little discrepancy with how many pieces of brass I had to primers, the other ones. But yeah, I'm going to mainly use it for the Monlicker. That's mainly what I use it for.
You mentioned testing your loads. Mm-hmm. Do you send it out to be tested?
Originally, no, but I do actually now. I have a good friend, and people probably know him as like the Vetterli Gremlin, or like the Fiend. His name's Frantic. His first name's Cody. He actually lives up here in Florida with me, or down here in Florida with me, and he's actually a friend of RTI as well, and like Uli, and I see him there at the warehouse sometimes, and especially the Vetterli load. I think it made a lot of sense to have him test that, because he is the human encyclopedia for Vetterlis. He is an absolute expert. So
what would you say, Reese? 30, 40 Vetterlis, if not more?
Mental illness level.
It's bad. And my dad knows what the Vetterli have with that one. Imagine 40 of those.
yeah, dude, it's a lot.
It is.
But, when I originally tested, so every load that I sell, I tested originally. But there's some new like stuff we're trying out, especially like the Vetterli. Oh, actually, I take that back. So the original loads I tested, but there's actually 2 new loads that I'm rolling out actually very soon for the Vetterli and the 8x50R that Cody did. And so that's all chronoed as well. We test accuracy at distance on a target. It's not, we're not just going out to the Everglades and just popping rounds off. Oh, it goes bang. We're happy with it. We make sure that, we're getting a decent MOA out of these things, which is a task with some of these guns, but it's mainly consistency in FPS and just a stable bullet flying straight. That's what we go for.
Okay. So you're not looking at pressures or anything like that.
So not particularly. We don't have pressure testing, but
Okay.
we don't push it. We're not pushing anything. We obviously look for pressure signs or anything like that. But I will say also that especially the Vetterli and the Mannlicher, there is no published reloading data. So this is a lot of testing and trial and error to figure out what reduced load is going to work correctly and give us the best result. And that's, again, where Cody, or Frantic, if you know him, the Vetterli guy, was super helpful. And he helped us actually develop a new load as well. But like I said, I mean, if you trust GRT, at least with a grain of salt, we're not pushing any pressures crazy on the high end.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I know, like you said before, the previous company with, I'm not going to throw a name out there. Don't want to infatuate that anymore. I know you and I talked about him. He really didn't know kind of what he was doing. He wasn't a reloader from the get-go. So it was kind of good to see you change out of that, start your own. And I know you've only had, I think, 1 or 2 issues come up with some of your ammo. And I think we've discussed there. It was that one with the primer. I think it was either a faulty primer or something else.
Guess what primer? That was with Readiness Reviews. Guess the brand primer.
Was it one of the Gen X?
It was one of the Gen X, but it was one that I bought from. It wasn't the one that came preloaded. It wasn't the SERP, like the PPU shipped primers. It was from a Gen X box. So I guess not the same batch, but yeah, I had one. I don't think actually I should roll back. I don't think it was actually the primer that ended up being an issue. I think he was using it on the 268 or 6.5 Craigan load. There was something in the flash hole. There was media in the flash hole. And I have that right now. I have Vetterli brass right now tumbling, and I could pick one out. There's going to be a big fat piece of media in the flash hole. So that's what I think happened. You could say that maybe the primer was a dud, but I'm leaning towards more media in the flash hole, because you could literally see all the explosive compounds sprayed on the powder. It just, maybe, I don't know. It didn't ignite.
Yeah, no, it's a couple different things. You and I've talked about this for hours, it feels like.
I know.
So, but no, other than that, that's really the only, and every time I try to look for a video of your stuff, that's the only issue I've seen. Other than that, everybody we know person that's run it's never had an issue with it. So
yeah, and I'm something that I'm big about, and this is something I learned in the last company, is just transparency and honesty. So it's like, I will say that one issue, I wouldn't say it was much of an issue, it was more of like a quality thing, is we originally loaded our 6.5 Craigan, like the first load, with H335. And yeah, you could load it, but with H335, but the load we were using, the FPS consistency was, I think it was a standard deviation of like 100. And so I was really not happy with that. And I knew right away, like, had to change the load, which we did. So it's totally different now, and the FPS is consistent. But that's something that I immediately recognized and improved on.
Did you have any legal troubles? As far as I know, you had to get a manufacturing license. I don't know if you had to do local zoning. Did you run into any roadblocks getting this company started?
Yeah. Yes. Oh my God. So, well, yes and no. I'll say. I'm sorry, I can't be. It's because I started this company in North Carolina, right? I moved down to Florida, where we're operating right now, and we're eventually going to move to Melbourne because we're having a warehouse built. So, starting the company in North Carolina, that was amazing. That was awesome. I mean, I basically just sit down at the ATF, get my 06 FFL. That's really easy. That's easy peasy. That's just a conversation with them, and they give you the thumbs up. I merely just needed HOA approval and then just to register my company. That was it. And I was able to run my presses out of my garage, which that's working from home. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that was super easy, I guess you could say, to start the company. But moving the company down to South Florida is and was an absolute nightmare. That sucked. And I grew up here in South Florida. It's my first time starting an ammo company in South Florida. The local government, the countywide, and the state government, it is a nightmare to start a business. So I registered the company in Delaware. I had to register as a foreign entity in Florida, which is a given. I think you pretty much have to do that no matter what. Had to register in the county and get a business tax license. Had to register in the city in the county to get a tax license. I needed 6 separate inspections from fire, electric, mechanical, structural, and code. And there was one more. Or no, that's 6. No, that was 5. There was one more I forgot. It was a nightmare, and I want to forget about it. Not fun at all. And they actually stopped production. I was running my business, and they were like, "Wait a minute, you need to stop producing." I was like, because I already got my FFL at that time. I registered. I had my my tax stamp and whatnot from local government, and they were like, "No, you need 6 inspections to keep stay open." I was just, oh, that sucked. That was not a fun time. So hopefully, when I move up to Melbourne next year in the larger warehouse, it's not that big of a pain in the butt. But yeah, I will say running an ammo company out of your garage in North Carolina, that was fun. That was so easy. They didn't even care. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention they forced me to have a warehouse. I don't produce here in my house here in Florida. So they force all businesses to have an offsite location. The statute, and I called the city about this because I live in Coral Springs, and they have a rule that there is no manufacturing allowed in a house. And I asked them to define what manufacturing is. And I asked them, I said, so what you're saying is I can't start like a bead bracelet company out of my house, just putting beads on strings? They're like, nope, that's manufacturing. Just wanted to put my head through the dang wall. So I had to go find a warehouse. And now I pay monthly for it.
Good grief.
So, long story short, it was fun. It was easy at first, but moving down to Florida was kind of a pain in the ass.
Plus utilities, plus insurance, plus yeah.
Plus.
Yep. Paul's been there; he knows.
Yeah. Government intervention is probably the hardest thing to get over.
We're the government, and we're here to help.
Yeah.
You
know, two hands and one in each pocket. You know, and you're not getting any enjoyment out of it.
Mm-mm.
No, I feel like
you've been used.
Not particularly. I feel like I'm being treated like a baby. Like I don't need somebody to sit over my shoulder, make sure that I'm running my company right or that I'm doing things right. Like I know how to reload safely, and having to do all that was just so much. Just not happy with it.
Unreal.
I don't know how people start businesses. Like they put so many walls in front of you just to hurdle, just to get your door open to the public. It's wild.
And it's getting harder.
I imagine so. I mean, maybe it's a South Florida thing. Maybe it's easier up in, Central and North, but at least in South Florida here, it's rife with red tape.
It got to the point with my business that I had to hire a girl just to do paperwork. And you're talking having to pay somebody $40,000 or $50,000 a year to do paperwork.
Yeah. And then you need to pay taxes on her payroll.
Right. Yeah.
And the payroll, the money she's getting is also taxed. The tax rabbit hole is insane. I don't know if you know this, but right off the bat, I have an excise tax of 11%. That is non-negotiable.
Yeah. Exactly.
People
Pittman Roberts Act.
Pittman
Exactly.
Robertson.
Yeah. Pittman Robertson. Excuse me. It's been around, forever.
Early 1930s.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of good that has gone because of that. So a lot of parks and stuff, and
wetlands and everything else that have been contributed by that, and other wildlife besides what we hunt. But he's in a situation where he's got 11, that 11%. Then he's got whatever sales tax he has to deal with, unless he's selling wholesale. And then he's got to have the paperwork from the retailer that is going to pay for the taxes. So, and do you sell that way?
We don't sell to retailers yet, and we will.
Okay. So you're paying sales tax on that, you're collecting sales tax on that and having to pass that on to the state of Florida.
Yep.
Which means, between your weekly payroll deposits, your weekly tax deposits, your weekly federal tax deposits, what am I missing?
Probably a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm nearing a year since starting this company. We're probably like, what is it? January, February. I haven't taken a single paycheck.
And how many employees?
It's just me.
And just you? Not a single paycheck. Wow.
Not a single paycheck.
Is this your only job, or because you mentioned you do websites for people?
Yeah, I have a web design company. It's where I have my own clients. I make websites for businesses and whatnot. And I'm also a full-time software engineer at a startup.
Okay.
So that's why I'm 26 and my hair is properly thinning.
Yeah.
Properly.
You're a busy man. That's all I can say. Busy man.
Thank you. Yeah, everything. So for the ammo company, everything from the website to the packaging to the design to the delivering orders. I'm actually sitting at the table. I package orders. I'm on the laptop that we do it. Yeah, it's one-man operation, and I try to make it seem like a 10, 20-man operation. Try to make ammo as quickly as I possibly can, get it out the door. I guarantee fast shipping for every order. So all these orders sitting next to me were made in the last 2 days, and they're going to go out tomorrow, and they ship pretty quick.
So you have custom printed boxes made for you for the ammo?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. There we go.
And of course, you need the the legal stuff.
Yeah.
But I tried to make it look good, of course. And then we have
It's actually a nice looking package you got there.
Thank you. Then we have it's a pretty standard insert, but they're all separated neatly. We'll probably switch to a plastic one once we start brass production up and we start making our own a new line of stuff when we have larger quantities. We'll definitely switch to a different insert because we're going to need machines to plop. What I'm trying to say is when we're making like 1 million rounds a month, we're going to need something automated to load these boxes. Because right now, and it's kind of a joke, like I actually live at home right now and I'm saving for a house while I run and do all these different things. It's just me and my family boxing and like getting all the ammo packaged. So we try to, but we're going to need something automated at some point.
So are you moving this factory or the warehouse that you're moving to? Is where you're going to do the brass manufacturing?
It's very likely. We're entertaining different prospects right now. So we're working out a deal where either we're going to have the machines in this warehouse or we're going to have them offsite somewhere in the US or overseas, we'll see. And we just either manufacture the brass there or we import it to that warehouse where we will also load it. So in the short term, next year when we move to Melbourne in this warehouse, it's mainly going to be loading equipment, like the 1050s and all that stuff. So I'm not sure if we're going to make the brass there or if we're going to have it imported or sent to us from inside the U.S.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I thought you were gonna, I was thinking, well, maybe you're gonna be another Starline, you know, manufacture, your brass and well, punch your brass. Brass the brass rolls itself you can buy and make the coins and then do the punching from there.
That's absolutely the goal. That's what we want to do. The
Okay.
tough thing is, so even though I have Uli, who owns RTI, as my investor, they're expensive. They're very expensive. We have quotes. The smallest quote we have is north of $1 million. So it's tough for a startup to just straight up buy these machines unless they have exorbitant amount of money or maybe even multiple investors. So the only reason why in the short term we might not have production in house is to save money up front, and then we'll do it later once we have the money. So we met with a company called Coventry Industries. Very nice guy. We met the owner there, me and Uli, and so he's over outside of Detroit, and he's very interested in this stuff. He makes the machines that are used to manufacture brass, and so we might make a deal with him. And so the brass is made in the U.S. It just comes to us in trucks, and we load it. And then eventually we could buy the machines and have them in our own warehouse. So it's definitely something we want to do, but it's like when you're starting a company, you want to reach certain goals and expand. It's like crawl, walk, run. Us buying our own presses right now would be like crawl, sprint. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. But it's definitely something we want to do. We'll do.
Yeah, because you at a certain point then means you have to have tool and die makers working for you with lathes and milling machines to make the punches and the stamps, and the annealing machines to anneal the brass and everything else in order to get it to where you're at. So it is a large output.
It's a huge operation. Yeah, it's no joke. When, not to sound like Biden, no joke. It is no joke of a process. These machines are huge. I just saw them a couple weeks ago in Detroit. Like I said, they're going to need technicians to run them, like you said. So it's something we're absolutely going to do. But we got to get there.
Well, like I say, you have to go into lathe mills and surface grinders and everything else to get to make the just the dies that you're going to have to make.
Yeah, I mean, let me answer this question here, and I'll go into die manufacturing for these presses because we already kind of have a quote for it. Have you considered partnerships with other private ammo companies like Phoenix Ammo? To be honest, I have not heard of Phoenix Ammo, and I'm not sure what that would look like. I mean, I'm always open to partnerships if we could reach our end goal, but I don't know particularly Phoenix Ammo. Yeah. Oh, so getting back to the dies, and if you want to expand on that Phoenix Ammo point, that's cool. I'll take a look at that too. But so in the quote, we sent them a list of cartridges we wanted to make, and one of our and like I said, we talked to the guys in Detroit. We have guys in Turkey. There's people in India, and we're trying to see who can give us the best quote for these machines or for the brass. And so we sent a list of requirements in a document. Obviously, very given things, high quality brass. We're not looking for brittle garbage brass from overseas or made in the U.S. We want quality. We want quantity. We want it to be very accurate. And we also sent them a list of cartridges we wanted. So I can kind of rattle down it. We said we need quick change dies if we're going to make it ourselves for these machines, because we want to make like 7.5 French, 7.5 Swiss, 8mm Lebel, 8x50R, 6.5 Carcano, 7.7 Japanese, 6.5 Japanese, 7.62 by 45. And there's more. It's 9 o'clock.
So yeah, you're looking at what, 40, 50 different pieces of different cartridges to develop brass for.
Yeah. Yeah. And so these quotes include the demand for quick change dies so we could swap. And our goal was really to make around 1 million of each a month. So after each month, we would have a certain amount to play with, whether we sell that or sell to distributors like Graf. So we need something that could easily be swapped out so we can make different cartridges like I just listed. Which is no short order. Like I said, like we both said, this is heavy industrial machinery. It's not a little reloading press that we're making rounds on. This is big stuff.
That's just making the brass.
That's just brass.
That does not include the ammunition manufacturing, which is again a large outlay of cash just to do that.
Yeah. The people we visited in Detroit, he gave us a tour of his facility. He also showed us a bullet press that manufactures jacketed bullets. I did ask if we could just make straight cast with it. He said yes, which is really cool. So crawl, walk, run. We're gonna get to brass, and then we'll talk about setting up additional presses for projectiles. But I think we're always going to end up buying, obviously, powder, but we're always going to end up buying primers too. I think eventually we're going to control our own projectiles and brass. That's our goal. Because like I said in the beginning, we want to get as close to original military spec as possible. And if you research a lot of these different cartridges, I mean, yeah, you could buy jacketed 268s, but it's not the original cast 268 long nose on the Carcano, right? That's what we want to get to. So that's down the road. That's even further than brass manufacturing.
Why starting? Is it because it's so hard to get brass? Is why you're looking at starting with the brass manufacturing? That's the bottleneck that you have right now.
It's exactly that, but for a different reason.
Okay.
Yes, because it's not available, we can't make it. But the fact that it's not available here in the U.S. is actually why we want to compete with these companies that manufacture it. So it's not just, how do I phrase this? It will allow us to make whatever cartridges we want, but it's more about the availability of the cartridges. So when you log into Grafs and Sons or Midway USA or Brownells, what's in stock? You're completely reliant on PPU, maybe SMB or Norma, which I think is not ideal. These are just large companies that have been around really long. PPU is unreliable in terms of supply chain in the U.S. People really don't know when the next batch is going to come in. Yes, they make huge batches is great, but they dry up quick, and you don't know where that brass is going to end up in the next couple of weeks. So instead of the industry constantly left scrambling, I want a reliable stream of this stuff in the United States made by a U.S. company.
Okay. So then you're talking, again, future. Like you say, crawl, run, crawl, walk, run. But your how do I want to put this? Your business plan is set up to in what timeline?
Oh, okay. So that's tough. I want to give you a straight answer. I don't know. It's a matter of whenever we could place an order for these presses. It takes about a year especially if you're going to expedite it, for them just to make the presses for us. So we have different prospects with quotes. We haven't pulled a trigger on one yet. So it's going to be a year out from whenever we could pull the trigger. So speaking in estimates, I hope to have brass production fully up and running within the next 2 years. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's our goal. And like I said, I'm working with Uli, and he's a bull of a partner. He's very good at sourcing and coming up with deals and just people that could actually do this kind of stuff. He was just recently in Dubai, flew over to Dubai for a meeting with a guy from India that could do this. It's very exciting, and I hope that we could hit that deadline. It's just tough for me. I can't give an exact date as much as I wish I could. But in the short term, between now and when that's done, I could expand into other cartridges. I'm worried that I can't compete well enough, and I don't want people to. Honestly, I don't want to earn a bad name for myself selling the same ammo for more expensive. I could right now make 8mm Nambu. I could make, 7.7 Japanese, 6.5 Japanese, and a host of other ones. But I look on AmmoSeek and I see they're less than $1 a piece. When I go on Grafs and Sons, it's just 90 cents for the brass itself. So it comes right back around to the root problem of availability and pricing. So,
Mhm.
we're stalling until we could set up brass, essentially brass production.
I buy expensive brass. Leopold, Lapua, Alpha, Peterson. So I'm used to paying $1.20, $1.60 for a piece of brass.
Yeah.
For a Milsurp, that wouldn't be unusual. I mean, as far as if you can't find it, and having somebody manufacture it, you don't look at what else is out there that's just going to be fly by night, but you have to look at what a supplier that can supply, can service the customer.
Yeah, that's the focal point of my company, is what the customer ends up experiencing at the end of the day. I'm not after the money. Like I said, I haven't even taken a damn paycheck yet, and my warehouse doesn't have air conditioning, and I'm in South Florida. Let me just throw that out there.
Wait till you put an annealing machine in.
You don't even need a flame. just leave it out in the sun.
The next question that I come to, and I'm going to ask Nick and Ray on this, is the amount of brass that the demand is what's next. So
yeah, we're gonna have to probe to find the ceiling. That's going to come in the first year. So when we start producing our own brass, like I said, our goal is to make roughly 1 million of each piece a month. 1 million of 8x50R, 1 million of 6.5 Craigan, and on and on. We need to see what makes sense for how much to make. I'm sure PPU and all these other people, they have data, statistics on what to make when. We're going to have to figure that out. But in terms of a business plan and how we could not hurt ourselves, is whatever's left over. I've already put my foot in the door with Grafs and Sons. They're so cool. They're so nice. I want to sell not only loaded ammo, but reloading components. So whatever's left over, we're going to put in bulk distributing in front of Grafs. We're going to put it on Midway, on Brownells. I'd really like to get it in other online retailers, and then bold enough, and if it makes sense enough, I would hope to get it in like Bass Pro Shop or something like that, and maybe get it on shelves. I'm sure you could fit, and this is just loaded ammo I'm talking about now, but I'm sure you could fit 6.5 Carcano in certain places in the U.S. and it will sell off the shelves in a Brownells or a local gun shop. But yeah, there's other places like Axis Firearms. What's the other one I was just thinking of? There's other Milsurp specific retailers, classic firearms. Good Lord, what's the other one? I'm blanking on all these websites. There's many other besides the big names. I'm sure we can get stuff on
Simpsons.
Simpson Ltd. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we'd like to get it just about everywhere. We're not. I don't have any plans on hoarding anything. It's just about, honestly, and I'm being straightforward. It's about servicing and taking the market.
Sure.
I'm very outspoken about other companies just totally dominating it. It's primarily PPU just dominating the U.S. market, and I want to step up to them and challenge them here in the U.S.
Well, they dominate because they're the only one producing.
Yeah.
You know, unless you call whatever Lapua, puts out and some of the older stuff that it still makes, or Norma, or somebody like that.
Yep.
So, because you can't count on the big three, producing brass anymore for just about anything. When was
Yep.
the last time you saw Remington brass out there?
Good Lord.
Yeah.
That's true. I never thought about that. Man.
Yeah. Well, same thing with Winchester or Federal. I mean, when was the last time you saw that brass anywhere being available to anybody? We sit down and yeah, you can buy PPU out there all the time, but in small quantities and on just regular brass. Starline makes their brass, and then you have the custom companies, the Petersons, the Alpha, the Lapuas that are top of the line manufacturers that you pay a big dollar for. Now you're talking about being a top of the line manufacturer, be a big dollar person then for it.
Yeah. My goal is to seriously challenge every company in the US and overseas that sells these type of cartridges. My goal is to challenge them. Like I said, I wouldn't be able to do it without Uli. It's the fueling factor that's going to push us there. But I hope that people will support me as I keep growing. They see how hard I work for them. They see how hard I try to do this, and I hope we get there. And what was the other thing? Just slipped off my tongue about what you were just saying. It'll come back to me. But
well, you have to make quality brass, okay?
Yep.
It doesn't cost you much more to make high quality brass.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking just the few cents around our case to increase your chemical analysis of the brass in order to make it a higher quality brass.
Yeah.
But if you're sitting there, saying everybody else is getting 50 cents a round for it, and you can make high quality brass that costs you, say, a nickel more a piece,
mm-hmm.
that you can turn around and for $1 or $1.50, which is not unusual for what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
So
I'm not looking to scrape the bottom of the barrel in terms of quality, just so we could fit and have lower pricing. Of course, it's the big three. Do you want quality? Do you want price? Or do you want availability? So my goal is to get as close and find the balance between all three. Would you have more luck being on a general reloading supply site like Powder Valley or Ninja? Yeah, so that's what I was saying. Those are some sites that I could have mentioned. We're going to get on Graphs. We're going to get on Midway and Brownells, and those would be other sites I hopefully can get on as well. That'd be tremendous. I really want to get this everywhere. I don't want to restrict it. I think more people in this hobby, the better. And that actually reminds me why, or what the thing I was trying to say earlier. I don't know if you realize this, but So I'm 26, and growing up through the early 2000s all the way up in the teens, I was raised on games like Call of Duty and Battlefield. And so if you played them yourselves, this is all World War I, World War II. These are all games that focus a lot on the history. And I grew up watching Band of Brothers. I grew up watching the Pacific, Saving Private Ryan, always fascinated with history. And I'm not the only one. There is a massive, massive portion of my generation and the next generation that's fascinated by history. And they're all coming of age where they could purchase these firearms and enjoy them. So I see 10, 20 years down the road, even it's happening right now. I'm a living example of what I'm talking about, of market opportunity and people getting into this hobby. And I think something that's a huge turnoff, and not to go back to why I'm doing this again, but it's a huge turnoff. It's like, yeah, I could buy the rifle and hang it up on my dang wall. It's another one. It's another thing to be able to take it to the range and actually put yourself in the footsteps of some of these soldiers and fire these weapons. I'll tell you what, there's nothing like smacking a steel plate at 250 yards with an M95. It's surreal. You expect these guns not to be able to hit the side of a barn, but when they function, it's like, oh crap, these are real. These are actually there. It's like time travel. It's truly fascinating, and I see the future of the industry, and people like me and Nick, coming into it. And there's just going to be more, and I want to grow into serving them.
Has Uli ever ran a feedback survey on his customers to know how many of them do reload and how many of them are just buying ammo? That would give you a little bit of a insight to how much production you would need.
So I made Uli's website. I see everything. I'm kind of like Big Brother when it comes to that. And I say it like that because I see the customers that come through. I see remarks or comments or like customer service reaching out. A lot of these people are not reloaders. The vast majority are not reloaders. I would say under, and this is generous, under 5% are reloaders.
Oh, I thought it'd be more than that, but that low.
No, I'll jump in real quick. I know I'm on Reese's Discord for his ammo company. And what would you say? Maybe 10, 15 of us are true reloaders.
And they're all from the Milsurp World Discord. They're not
pretty
even
much. Yeah. I think we have a few other ones that are not, but other than that, it's the same 10, 15 guys that are running across talking about reloading for stuff. So it's a very niche kind of rabbit hole on the Milsurp side.
Yeah, and I mean,
so in other words, it's not so much the brass case that's going to make the money; it's the loaded ammunition that you're going to pass off that's going to make the money.
Yes and no. I mean, we're talking about RTI's customer base. I'm sure there is a bunch of loaders out there that would like this brass itself, but loaded ammo, we're going to figure out how much loaded ammo makes sense every month to sell, and then how much components to sell. We'll find the balance, the easy way or the hard way, for lack of better words. But
well, the chance of him selling more guns if he can have ammo to go with it. That's
right.
Yeah. He's going to sell more guns. There's ammo right there.
Yeah.
The hard part I see in it, you're saying you want to make 1 million of each cartridge a month. That's great. Is the demand there for 1 million rounds a month of ammunition that for Milsurp?
The goal is 1 million casings a month.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how much of that we're going to load and sell components wise. And so when we actually, so one of the quotes we got from the guy in Detroit, Coventry Industries, for these machines, you could throttle them. So it turns out we're operating, we want to be around 1 million a month. That's actually in the low end for how much these machines can make. They can make up to like 7 to 8 million a month, which we don't want to do. We might end up even going less. Makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's what we're going
to. I'm trying to put together to satisfy my mind is what is the demand for all the everything that's out there in Milsurp, and
Yeah,
that's why I'm asking Nick and Ray, what are they finding, as far as I understand them making the 577 Snyders and all that kind of stuff. What is the demand for
yeah, we
the
could
7.7 Jap, the 6.5 Jap, any of the Mauser rounds that you can't find anymore. 7x57, the 43 Spanish. What is the demand out there?
Yeah, I can quantify it actually pretty easily. Let's throw an estimate out there. Can we all agree that there's maybe 40,000 Carcanos in the U.S. of all variant floating around? People own them, whatnot.
Okay.
Just multiply that by 100 rounds.
Yeah, and he's the
Per
best way.
year.
Per year. And the best way he's figuring these numbers as far as brass is he looks at what Uli has brought in through RTI. So he's bringing a ton of Carcanos in, a ton of the M95, and that's an 8x50 and both 8x56.
Mm-hmm.
The Vetterlies. Plus there's all sorts of other stuff coming soon. Those, I think that's where Reese is basing off of. Those are his base starting cartridges. He's been running off me, a couple other of our group of guys that we know, and it kind of getting ideas of what would be those next set of brass to start with, and then maybe produce loaded ammo. Like I know a lot of our group of guys is asking for 7.7 Jap, like you said, Paul, 6.5 Jap. Those are one that we're here. He was hearing a lot of. One that I would love to see, 11mm Mauser. It's just an oddball. Nobody produces the ammo. Well, Bertram was the only one, but nobody really nowadays. That's
really an outflier. But like your 7.7s, all your Carcanos, all those that have had a big influx of imports over the last 5 to 10 years, that's where you're going to start out. And not there again, Nick, you and I reload, we do case conversion, but I'll tell you what, my old standby is if I can go buy a factory box, a particular cartridge, lately it's been PPU, that's how I replenish my brass supply. So if he can do that, Reese is always going to have customers because they're going to want to replenish their brass. Even if they don't, if they reload, that's how they do it.
Yeah, and it's also, we're not focusing on every cartridge we're doing is not one that's unobtainable. I think right now, the cartridge we're focusing on that is unobtainable completely, just about, is the 8x50R. You could find Carcano, you could find Japanese, you could find these other ones. It's a matter of, like we said, availability. I don't think we're going to have trouble selling these cartridges because even though they're available now, we'll compete with them, and they're definitely in demand. There's also ones besides the like World War II and previous cartridges. We have 7.62x45. There is many VZ52s here in the U.S. There is no ammo. Good luck.
That's what's holding me up from buying one because nobody makes ammo for it. So that's what's been holding me.
So I don't think it's a stretch for us to reload or for us to manufacture high quality brass, make ammo for it, and sell reloading components for that. That will completely eliminate, that hole in the market, for lack of better words. I'm blanking on the other one. 5.45. That's a huge one. That's a Milsurp cartridge, even though it's kind of on the newer end. It's still 20th century in high demand and no, I wouldn't say completely, but it's largely unobtainable. I see a lot of people asking. I've actually been asked to make 5.45 recently, which I can't. I'm not going to do it. But there's a lot of wiggle room in what is in demand and in low supply or non-existent supply. So,
okay, I'm seeing where it is and where it's going and what you have, and I am seeing it's more an ammunition shortage than a brass shortage, but you need one to get the other. So, okay. What about producing something like a standard load for M1 Grands? Okay. There's too much junk out there that everybody shoots that are harmful to an M1 Grand.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. There's a lot of 8mm Mausers that are out there.
Don't shoot the Turkish. Yeah, we could reload 8mm Mauser at some point. Like I said, we want to compete. M2 ball spec 30-06 would be cool. I don't know how much it would sell on the high end. Maybe we could do like batches of it. But as somebody who owned a BAR, an 03 A4 clone, and a Garand, thank you, CMP. I really like M2 ball, and I'm a little biased.
Mhm.
I would love to reload M2 ball in scale. That'd be a lot of fun. Yeah, there's other cartridges just like that. I also comes to mind, and it'd be cool if the industry accepted it. I haven't tried it yet, or we might try it. Is reloading 308 and 5.56. Not now. This is going to be when we have some playroom. But I think we could brand and reload like original Cold War spec ammo, and so we could theme the boxes as like an FAL. Or like a G3, and then we could also theme the boxes for the 5.56 for maybe the original M16 or some other stoner weapon at the time during the Cold War. But that would be cool also. But that would be more when we have wiggle room to do stuff like that. So
yeah, you could even redo the packaging. You could put it in bandoliers, in the cardboards, on strippers. I mean, anything that get the Milsurp guy to buy it. I mean,
yeah, Lord knows Uli has plenty of bandoliers.
Now, what about? And here's a weird one: blank ammunition.
Yeah, for reenactors, that would be cool.
Right.
That would be really cool. Is there companies that are dedicated to that at large scale already?
Yeah, you have Atlantic Wall, Joe Swanson.
Joe Swanson, yeah.
There's a couple other ones. If you ever were to consider going down that, I have questions for you, and I have ideas, and we need to run some stuff together. My dad knows where my head is going.
Yeah.
Well, I'm wondering if there's,
No, there's an absolute market for it. I look at it like my dad was going back to first thing he built that redid that 308 Grand for me. I would have been paying 95 cents to $1.10 per .06 blank.
Mm-hmm.
When I can go and buy cheap 308 plastic German G3 blanks for 9 cents a piece.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a no-brainer. 30 carbine right now. 30 carbine is almost $2 a blank, if not more.
If you can come up with a cheap 30 carbine blank,
you will sell like hotcakes. Yep. You'll sell out in 5 minutes. It's insane.
Good to know. I mean, I don't know a ton about the blank market. Isn't it really as simple as powder, primer, crimp, and then sealing it with wax or some sort of at the end?
Sealer,
I don't know if that price is there because it's tough to imagine why the price is there. It's either they have a grip on the market and that's just what they want to sell it at, or that's what the materials cost and they make a small margin on top.
Well, powder's different. You're much faster powder. You have to produce the brass safely, so it's a longer case that you have to take and make it to make into a blank. And the other thing I was thinking, what about all these World War I people that are thinking we just went through the 100th anniversary for World War I, and what about all the people that are in the different guns that they went through and used for that?
Yeah, well, you have your 303. I mean, you still have 30-06 blanks, but I'm sure somebody out there is going to ask me for 8x50R blanks. Somebody will.
Yeah.
Well, nice thing about it, you don't even need to cut the case down at that point. You have that extra
Yeah.
case length.
Oh, that would be
A
that would be
bottleneck, you
awesome.
just crimp the end. You start crimp the end.
Yeah, you're just start crimping the end at that point.
Is it a standard die you could buy?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
you run on your
I'll send you the link. It's just a standard die.
it's 4D. You can't
Yeah.
get a better die than that.
Is it? Oh, so is it a universal crimping die? Like it will take anything?
I think it's per bolt diameter.
Yeah.
I think it's like 30 cal, 8 mil. They make them for 45.
Yeah. 8 millimeter. I got an 8 millimeter one.
Yeah, you have 8 mil and odd 6 or 30 cal.
Yeah. Is it as simple as just dipping the tip in wax, or what's the?
Actually, if you get a good tight crimp, you know what I use? Once I get them all crimped, just a micro dot of Elmer's glue.
Really? Okay.
Hang on, I have some sitting right here. I'll pull a couple out.
Really, you know,
I use red dot. The only thing you have to do is calibrate your restrictor.
Yeah, the thing like red dot, I feel like that it falls into the same trap as whatchamacallit, like Accurate 5744, where everybody gobbles it up the second it's in stock, and then it's out of stock for months.
I make my own 12 gauge shotgun blanks from my trench gun.
Nice. Oh, okay. And those don't have anything; they're just straight crimped.
Straight star crimp.
That's very interesting.
So if you use a flake powder, that hole up there so microscopic that flake powder is not going to fall through.
You're muted, Nick.
Oh, I paid 45 cents a piece for these, but that was on a really good deal from a friend of mine. Super good deal. But anymore, you're paying over $1 a piece. But I can switch to these and be 9 cents a piece. And these are 308. And I'm shooting these a lot cheaper, just as fast, and not worry about the pocketbook.
And they cycle so much better.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm totally open to this kind of stuff. I think you know it just goes back into supporting the hobby and the history, and having blanks and supporting the reenactors. That's super cool, in my opinion. I mean, also maybe we can get into film, supply the blanks to movies and that industry. That'd be pretty cool.
Okay, just theoretically speaking, what would it cost you to load an M2 ball round? Just roughly.
It'd be close. You'd be pushing like, yeah, you're pushing like $1.70 roughly. Okay. It depends on the brass. Let me see. So Graffs and Sons, the overlords of reloading components, those are 30-06 brass ad. And this is without us producing our own brass. If we produced our own, that'd be cool. Okay, so it's actually cheaper than I thought. I thought the brass would be closer to like 80 cents a piece. So it looks like 30-06 brass, roughly 50 cents. Projectile, let's say 40 cents. Powder, 12 cents. Primer, 10. Ballpark, like $1.30, $1.40 a piece. M2
ball price in a while.
Yeah, so you can load. You actually sound from your price, or you can load blanks and be quite competitive.
Maybe. I mean, if it's like I said, I'm going to be very honest. I have not loaded blanks. I don't know a terrible amount about it. But I mean, if it's something we can expand into and it's affordable and we can compete, hell yeah.
You would be if you're right at that $1.50 mark, you'll be able to compete all day because PPU is getting. This is from SG Ammo, 150 grain, M1 grand, M2 ball, $24 a box of 20. So you're going to be right around that. I think they're $1.20, $1.30. So you're going to be in that same ballpark.
That's just to make it. I mean, we got to make a little money on top of it.
Absolutely, yeah. But I even then, I'd rather support a small business and U.S. produced business rather than the overlord of PPU from who knows where, Serbia.
Oh my God! Somebody said sell blanks to Alec Baldwin.
Oh geez.
Oh God. Yeah, that's very cool. blanks definitely on the list of things I'll entertain, without a doubt. It's cool.
See, this is Atlantic Wall. This is a Privy Partisan factory blank ammo. 90 blanks. They went $97.
That's
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not cheap anymore.
and you'll go through
You'll go through
Yeah.
anywhere from 60 to 70 rounds in a battle.
in a battle. Yeah.
why I don't
And that's
understand.
a 30-minute battle. Yeah. No, and these you can see where the companies are marking it up. And when we load it, we use red dot powder. And we're what, 12 grains, I think?
Don't give away your load, Nick.
That's not exactly, but it's in that ballpark somewhere. So we weren't talking a lot, but finding red dot powder right now is almost impossible.
But there again, there's
There's
Others-
other powders.
There's others that are very available, like Vita Vori, which I use
Yeah.
to load my ammo. A very fast powder, N120 or N110. That stuff is pretty good. That's pretty fast.
that's not what I don't know. That's a whole other offshoot you could do to your company, especially if you could come up with plastic cartridges like this.
You're getting into too much down the rabbit hole there.
I don't know about plastic, but if I could buy brass, prime it, throw a little bit of powder in it, and crimp it, and sell it,
You're saving
pretty easy.
2/3 the cost almost, because your
Yeah.
projectile, you're saving money, and then you're saving about half your powder cost.
You just have to remember though that the cartridge cases are longer.
Mm-hmm.
No,
No,
No.
not Odd 6. No,
Ot 6, 308.
no. The only one that needs to be
308
longer.
may be a little longer. 308 may be a little longer.
Oh, so you have.
I can't use this because this has a bullet somewhat built onto the plastic. But yeah, Odd 6 doesn't need to be any longer. The only one I think
8
8
millimeter
millimeter doesn't, because most 8 mils are just running through bolt guns. If they
I'm
run them
guessing-
through gas guns,
I'm
they
guessing
don't need to be longer.
Well,
Carbine's the only other one that would need to be longer.
9 millimeters gotta be longer.
Yep.
I'd imagine that when we're producing our own brass, so in the extrusion process, as you're actually elongating the brass, I feel like it's not a stretch to just. Are we talking like?
You're talking a couple
Hundreds?
millimeters,
Okay, not
2 or
that's.
3 millimeters. Yeah.
I
You're
feel
probably
like it's
talking a
not
lot.
going to be difficult for us to tweak it so that we're producing blank brass, blank
You need
specific brass.
just enough extra length to make when it's feeding, it feels like it's got a bullet. That way it can ramp up into the chamber.
So you can see this one. A lot of times you have to have that shoulder to where it feeds onto that shoulder and then up into the chamber.
Mhm.
So
But
I
all the
just
blanks I make
remember.
go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I just remember using a lot of 308 blanks in M60s, and they had just about the whole bullet formed into.
yeah, and I know exactly
that.
which ones you're talking about, Paul. They have that long, like needle nose,
Mhm.
something like your Croil can, basically a piece of brass just formed onto that brass that had an insert in it. Yeah.
And that's for
For feeding. It's for,
For
feeding.
feeding,
Okay.
absolutely.
And that's what I'm trying to get at is
Yeah.
that if you're going to manufacture something, then make it work. You have a blank firing adapter on your M1 Grand, right?
Mm-hmm.
right.
Yep.
Okay, so and the one thing about the Grand is it's pretty much a straight line feed for the brass. Machine guns can get a little finicky as far as that goes.
Right.
Especially belt feds because of the extraction and to pull the case out of a cloth belt and then to push it forward, it can be a little rough there. So
Yeah, for reenacting, most of the guys that run a crew serve weapon, a belt fed, they've all been converted to gas. They're
Gas,
using propane.
Okay.
or like the German MG42s that are still running off blank grounds have been converted to the 308.
308.
Okay.
Israeli MGs.
Yep, Israeli MGs or even the 1919s that are still belt fed. They're using
Mhm.
these. So,
That's
but
cool. Interesting.
Reese, just so you know, you have 2 reenactors in our Milsurp World community.
Oh, really?
Three.
Huh.
Well, yeah, 2 on this
Danny.
podcast.
Danny.
Actually, 4 then. 2 on the podcast here. You have Danny and you have Joel
Really?
at Panzerfaust. Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, Joel's a big reenactor. I do reenactments with Joel all the time. I even shoot at Joel.
Nice.
Not in a bad way.
You gotta remember Nick has got a reminder how good of a shot he is.
Yeah.
And you don't get a Purple Heart, Nick.
Why not? I might be actually getting rewarded a Purple Heart here at the event here in a couple of weeks. They're supposedly doing something for me.
That's hilarious.
He'll get the Red Bullet Award. Don't worry.
Red Bullet Award, yeah.
Yeah, but there's a million directions you could go, Reese. And
Yeah, and that's especially after seeing Uli's new video with some of the interesting stuff that's coming in now.
Yeah.
Who knows what else he's going to find over there, or what else he's going to find around the world.
Yeah.
Well, I just tried to open up something that new to you, and to ask questions about which way to go. And we have Nick and Ray here that are great as far as, answering the Milsurp question. The real question is demand. And if you add blank manufacturing in, sounds like, these guys are shooting, 60, 200 rounds a weekend.
Mm-hmm.
If not more.
Wow.
It depends on the event.
That's
There
good
you
to know.
go.
So, you're talking, if each guy there's 100 guys out there and they're shooting 200 rounds. Wow.
Yeah, if we make our own brass, absolutely. This is something I would love to do. I feel like that'd be really cool. And I think we could do it affordably. I don't see why we couldn't. But the thing is, and there has to be a caveat. I absolutely want to do this. I'm wondering why it's that price. Like, why are they charging that much for it?
Demand.
Is
There's
it
only
high
a couple.
demand supply?
It's high demand. Few companies that are doing it.
Mhm.
And people already know reenacting is not cheap to get into. So they're like, "Oh, you're already in. We're gonna just make you spend more money." That's what I feel.
Yeah.
It's like being a PRS or an F-class shooter. Okay.
Yep.
We're gonna spend the $1.50 to $2 on a piece of brass, and then we're gonna work the shit out of it. So,
And,
it's
and truthfully, for blanks, it wouldn't have to be the highest quality brass because you're only going to do it once. No reload. It's just got to cycle once and go pop.
Well, your pressures aren't super high in either.
No, and they say those plastic ones work fine.
Yeah.
So that shows you how the quality of the brass wouldn't have to be super high quality.
And it barely blows out the ends of these. It's just enough just to get the gas released.
To be honest, it actually might even be. It might add to the work to have lower quality brass. I would rather just have good quality brass, and we'll just run whatever we want with that. Because we would have to like get an entirely different, separate shipment of like lower quality stuff. It might just make sense. We'll just make it quality. But knowing how much it's going to cost us to make certain calibers right now, when we make brass, it's like we could probably clobber everybody in this market for blanks, and just we could even make money while competing with them. That's interesting. I had no idea it was that predatory. And not to sound predatory myself, but I'm a collector and I want to see this hobby and industry grow.
$48 for 20 rounds?
Yeah.
Holy shit. That's nuts.
well.
That's why I love bone.
That's about as expensive as my loaded Vetterli ammo. Like loaded ammo.
It's a piece of 30-06 brass.
Yeah.
Downloaded, and you use a star crimp on it.
And you see why I've changed over to 308, Mike. I can go down to 9 cents a piece.
I'm at blankammo.com.
Oh yeah.
And the 308 still $38 for 20 rounds.
And that's brass cased. You get into this plastic stuff, Mike. I can buy
Yeah.
1,000 of these for $90.
And Reese, maybe you can answer this question. When you order blanks, you don't have to pay a hazmat. Why would
Exactly.
that
What? Why?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't pay hazmat fee on these,
be? Yeah,
which
you
is
don't
so
have to pay
weird.
hazmat.
I don't know why.
Isn't the thing that makes it hazmat powder primer?
Yeah,
Both are in the
we're
package.
so confused.
But
I don't know.
Well, now wait a minute. Primers loaded into brass is not hazmat.
Correct.
So you can buy brass that is demilled and the primer is still live in it from from even Graff and Sons used to sell it.
It must be the
And
Hmm.
no there is no hazmat fee to it.
Well, because think about it, without that, with a regular round with a bullet, I guess you got some danger there. Even if it explodes, it's going to push that bullet minimal distance. On a blank, what's it is good? It's just going to go pop. There's nothing to restrict that.
If usually what would happen if there's a bullet in a case and there's a fire, it is not the bullet that moves; it's the case that moves.
Yeah.
And if and in a blank, it would just pop, and maybe the primer would move on it. I don't know. I'll have to test it.
If you have a generous chamber, your primer might back out a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at my order. The last time I ordered blanks, these plastic ones, I ordered 1,000 of them. No, they didn't charge me shipping, tax, nothing.
No hazmat.
No hazmat, nothing. It was all free of that. So
No, they shouldn't.
Fairness, I don't pay hazmat when I ship my ammo. God, that's so weird. I never knew that. That's funny.
Food for thought.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, I gotta tell you, Reese, you got a few people here that are in your corner.
Thank you.
The podcast here is pushing for you because, like anything else, new blood brings this sport even more, makes it more enjoyable. So, an old guy like me, we're just there to give you guys, the young guys like Ray, idea to move forward with.
Yeah. Thank you. And obviously I'm super appreciative for you guys even having me on here, and then I get to meet you guys. Great conversation. You totally opened my mind to blanks. Put that on the radar.
Did you tell him where he can get the dies?
CH40.
Yeah.
Yeah, super cool. Good stuff. You guys are a good bunch to chat with, and I appreciate the support. It's really good. I hope we could do this and pull this off.
So you are expected every time you add a new cartridge to come on.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Cool.
So,
and like he said, if Mike ever wants you back on, he knows to get hold of me, and I know how to get hold of you. So that's the easiest part about it. So
yeah,
sounds good. All right, that deal. And we'll talk about it plenty.
Yeah, you and I talk literally daily. It feels like.
Yeah, pretty frequently.
So
okay. Cool. Are we? We'll wrap it up, or
yeah, I got a couple ad reads to read, but if you want to hop off, you can. So
sounds good. All right, guys. Thank you so much for having me. Have a good night.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks again, Reese.
Take care.
Have a good night, Reese.
You too.
Good night.
All right, that's awesome. So I got my new Reloading Podcast shirt because I washed my old one wrong. And then it has the anatomy of a pew on the back now. So hi, Ollie. The official Reloading Podcast helper is right here. You can see him's nose right here. He says, "Oh, pet me." So,
The
good night,
official,
Oder.
the official dog of the Reloading Podcast.
Mm-hmm. All right, buddy. So, yeah, awesome. Sorry, I missed a little bit of it there. Some stuff with a kid. So, turns out to be not as dramatic as it was thought to be. So that's good. So, but it's all good. But yeah, that'd be cool to see him make blanks. But more importantly, cool to get into more. So I'm kind of excited about them making brass and making brass available, because that's kind of a cool thing for them to excuse me, make brass available for certain cartridges that aren't available anymore. Being a smaller business, they can afford to do stuff like that, whereas your larger companies don't do stuff like that anymore. So sorry, I had to clear my throat. Yeah, definitely a nice guy, and neat in for how he got into it, and awesome that he's got Yuli as a backer and a partner in the business and everything. And so, but I want to take time to talk about Jake and Ryan over at Patriot Patch Company. Here's your patch of the month for September. We've got spatial problems, because I can never pull this off quite right, because I'm backwards and my brain just can't process. But we've got Lady Liberty for victory. So, wrong side. That did not help one bit. Did it? Nope, it didn't. Anyway. I tried. So you've got Lady Liberty with exosuit and a minigun. So it's pretty awesome. I always love seeing what they're going to do in September for the patch of the month for Lady Liberty, because it's always pretty cool. So, but yeah, just awesome. And they make patch panels like that one back there behind the Peace Lily. So Jim's still kicking, just wasn't able to make it tonight. So he's had some family stuff come up, and so he'll be back. So it's all good. So it's all good with Jim. But yeah. So dang it, Shenda spent trying to help me buy more lever guns. So because I technically have a lever. Actually, I think I have two lever 22s. I've got a Ithaca 49, but that's a single shot. So it's kind of technically more like a falling block. I suppose you could say. But I have one of those too, because I got a Remington falling block 22. But yeah, now the Revel, that's Romeo Echo Victor Echo Lima. For those of you who out there who can't understand my gibberish. So and so yeah, swing over to Patriot Patch Company, check them out. Sorry, I got to check Rumble and make sure. So, hi, Pan Jockey. So, on Facebook, I'm not going to post, or actually everywhere, I'm going to stop posting the YouTube link because I have to copy and paste on both. So I have to copy and paste and go post the Rumble, and then I got to go back and copy and paste and post all the YouTube. So pretty much everybody who's going to YouTube is going to it knows how to find the YouTube. Those who don't, I want to have them find Rumble. Anyway, so because eventually, we're not going to be on YouTube anymore because YouTube's going to eventually kick us off. So, but excuse me. But regardless of what platform you're on, please do us a favor and give us a thumbs up if you liked what you saw. So, Camerado, always coming up with awesome new colors. Like I said, they've got the High Garden for this month and next month for breast cancer awareness. So it is the actual Camerado pattern, but in a pink camo. And yeah, I gotta figure out which one the wife wants and get it ordered. So
look like jammies.
Right. They brought back the Hoochie Daddy shorts, so that's kind of funny. And then in certain patterns, they introduced the puffer jacket. So it's kind of a winter jacket. A little puffier kind of. Sean's worn it on the show. I'll be honest. So he's got it in the Scout, the Raider, the Winterfell, the Night's Watch, and the Warden. So basically the original 5 colors. Like most everything else, it runs small. It only comes small to 2XL because of the place that they get this particular thing from. So keep that in mind. So obviously I won't be getting one, but that's okay. But yeah, he's got a couple of collaborations. Like I said, he's got the Sea Smoke with John Patton and the Gun Collective. I like that color. And then he has Puty Fruity with Clover Tack. Both of which shows are in the network, on the network, by the way. Although I don't know if I could buy Puty Fruity because that's way too much yellow. If I was going to do something, I would get Radical.
I'm telling you, we all need to get Radical for SHOT Show.
Yeah, I know.
We could not miss each other, that's for sure.
The logo wouldn't show up, it's only an issue.
If I do white, it will.
Okay.
Oh, other news. There is a second option for the big luau. It now has a pocket. So that comes in small to 5X. So like I said, it's a little small. So now the original luau comes in extra small to 6X. So, but the pocket one's a little different size. So anyway, that's Camerado.com. CAMORADO. And if you want it phonetically, Charlie, Alpha, Mike, Oscar, Romeo, Alpha, Delta, Oscar.com. Anyway, so make sure you check out Patriot Patch Company, Camerado. Make sure you swing over to our page, which is, my mouse is going to get thrown against the wall in a minute here. firearmsradio.net/category/podcast/reloading-2. Or you can just go to firearmsradio.net, click on the all shows drop down, and click on reloading podcast. Excuse me. You can check out all of our episodes and stuff. So I kind of screwed up. I guess I don't have my spacing on my audio quite correct. So at the beginning of the show, Jim's disclaimer kind of runs, or the music kind of runs into the open of the show, I guess, by about 10 seconds or so. So I apologize for that. And somehow episode 512 posted twice. So I'm not sure what happened there. So I will dislodge my, I will grab my ears and pull and dislodge my cranium from my rectum, get that all figured out. So I apologize for that. While you're at our page, if you want to get some of these sweet shirts or lovely tumblers, or something that should be coming soon, license plate, and something that might be coming, might not, pistol cleaning mat. So we're debating on that one. So
we're almost a mouse pad almost.
It's a little bigger than a mouse pad. That was not fun. You can click on the green buy our merch button, and that will take you over to Southern Gals Crafts, where you can see the t-shirts, tumblers, koozies. We also have hoodies, and we have some schmack talking at the ATF, because the ATF should be disbanded. So otherwise, also, if you want to support the show, you can support the show through Rumble, or if you go over to our podcast page on Firearms, Zach, we do sell sweatshirts. So excuse me. Yeah, we have the sweatshirts in the green or the white or the gray, with the podcast logo on the front and the anatomy of a pew on the back. So you can also support the show, like I said, through Rumble or through Patreon, if you want, or you can just support the show by telling people about us. So thank you, everybody who tunes in every week. Oh, you want a sweatshirt without the hood? I'm sorry. Yeah, we can work on that.
Pullover. That's more of a pullover instead of a sweatshirt.
No, it's a sweatshirt.
Yeah.
You can have a sweatshirt without the hood. Then it would be a sweatshirt. So
we called them a hooded sweatshirt in my day.
That's what we called them.
And you called it Sody. Yeah, you guys.
So
you guys call it weird stuff in Springfield there.
Yeah, well, it is Illinois, so.
Which even is trying to ban Cheetos, Oreos.
Even though I'm outnumbered 3-1, I will still do that.
Okay, I'm originally from Illinois, but not anymore. Don't claim that as my state anymore.
Good job. Now get your dad out of there.
He's on his way. He's moving eventually. He's working on it.
We're looking. Haven't found the right one yet.
Yeah, amen. For those who are on the golf course, board it up. Keep your heads down. Quarter zip would be sweet, but unfortunately, I don't know how the logo would work very well on a fleece. So, and we're not set up for embroidery. That would be expensive. So. Yeah, everybody who's on the Gulf Coast, keep your heads down, board everything up. Make sure you have a proper hurricane party. It's kind of like us up here preparing for a blizzard, you know. Usually involves a lot of drinking.
Because like I know, especially with my new job, I get to work from home no matter what. Even if we're getting like 2 inches, they don't care.
2 inches is nothing.
Oh, I know it's nothing. I can drown in
So
that.
cheers to you on the Gulf Coast.
Ooh.
Yummy. I saw something on Facebook. It's gone around quite a bit, but it's I asking an old guy about UK versus US in a drinking contest. I go in there and I look at the comments, and you can tell which side of the pond they're on by the comment. But I noticed very quickly a lot of the comments started saying, "We don't need all of the US. We'll just send Wisconsin over."
Wisconsin, Tennessee. There's like 4 states you could send over to be good.
Pretty much. So, good grief. Although I will give them I will give them props. They do have a special tolerance for drinking over there. So, but yeah. At any rate, once again, make sure you're registered to vote. Make sure everybody you know is registered to vote. Don't talk to the if you want to tell them who you're voting for and why, fine. Don't pressure them. Don't be an ass. But make sure they're registered to vote. So, but on that note, gang, keep your brass shiny.
Jump on the Milsurp short bus.
Teach them to shoot and reload when they're young.
Grandpa told me not to listen to my mama. Violence does solve problems.
Make sure you support the Second Amendment and organizations that support the Second Amendment. And make sure you're calling your local, state, and national representatives and letting them know how you feel, but be nice about it. So, more importantly, speaking of feeling, mental health is serious. Make sure you're fighting the good fight, and get some help while you're fighting that fight. 988 or 1-800-273-8255. If you're former or current military, military1source.com. Reach out, get the help. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. We want you here. We need you here. And it's not just a bullshit line that I say. It's serious. It gets bad sometimes, but you gotta find something or someone in your life that you've deemed that's worth carrying on for. And even if it's just yourself, just to show everybody else that yes, you can do it and you're not going to quit. Thanks, everyone. Have a great night.